touching the tungsten to your workpiece, that's bad. Touching your rod to the tungsten, oh, that is so much worse. Well, folks, welcome back to Random Rod Shop. Today, well, I guess it's like the last couple of days, the last couple of videos. We're going to do something a little different. I've been teasing you that, I need to learn to TIG weld. Well, today is that day. And I can tell you, I've gathered up a TIG welder, right? I found one on Facebook. I went and talked to my welding guys, and they were okay with swapping out an oxygen bottle I had for an argon bottle. And so I think I'm set up. I ordered the aluminum rod. I think I've got the right things to go in the TIG welder. Like everybody else, I've done a lot of research on YouTube. But today you're gonna get to see this from the beginning, because I've never actually turned this thing on to see if it even works. I need to get this bottle mounted on this welding cart. The welding cart came with the TIG welder. It's a 200 amp AHP AC/DC machine. I'm just going to make the assumption it's going to work. But it had a smaller bottle on it, so first step, I need to get the bottle set up on here. I'm not a big fan of having the bottles kind of floating in midair, so I want to get the bottle mounted. And then I'm going to string out my 220 cord and clean up the bench a little bit. And let's see where we go. This may be a really short video, or this may be like a Mel Brooks video. All right, let me get after it.
I got two questions for you.
Yep.
Right now I've got the glow plug set on basically accessory,
Okay.
so that they should be warming up. How long do I...
Oh,
normally-
like 10 seconds.
Oh,
So you should be good.
okay. If everything's working, it should be.
All right. You got juice to the fuel pump, so
I'm double checking my wires.
because that's normally closed, right? So you got to have power to the.
Power to it.
All right.
I think it's right.
Well, folks, sometimes things don't work out like you want. So I got the bottle on there. That was always more. Yeah, that was more work than I thought. And then I was gonna plug in the power cord, and as it turns out, the previous owner had cut the power cord on it, and I had spent some time looking for another cord. I ended up pulling it off my cracker box Lincoln. So I'm gonna have to find another. I'm gonna have to find another cord for my cracker box. You can kind of see it there. So I think I've gathered up everything. I found me a piece of aluminum. I mean, I've got the cast iron piece, or the cast aluminum piece that I cut out of the tail housing. Let me put the camera back up here. I've got the cast aluminum piece, but everything I've watched on YouTube, and people have told me this probably isn't the best place to start. So I found me a piece of aluminum angle iron that we're going to give it a try. Also, I guess I should have I should have prepared better, because I don't think this cup matches this little bushing, and apparently I've only got one blue, and according to my chart, the blue tungsten is supposed to be the aluminum, so I've got, you know, about that much. So I actually don't know how long that's going to last, but I know the welder turns on now. I got the gas hooked up to it. Oh yeah, had to chase that down too, because apparently the line I got didn't fit the regulator. Okay, so I got me a new pair of gloves. I got my cheater glasses here, and I got it clamped down. I think I'm gonna turn the welder on, and let's see what it does. According to YouTube, I set these, what's like 1/8 of an inch, so I got about 125 amps. I got, I don't know, I've got it looks like the balance is maybe 70% negative, 30% positive. Maybe it's 40-60, I don't know. There's no numbers on this thing, just kind of like less or more. Got it on AC 2T, non-pulse, and I got a foot pedal hooked up to it. So, I think what we're going to do is I'm going to try to get the camera a little closer, but probably I'm going to do a little, I'm assuming I'm going to not do well. So after each one, we'll take the camera down and you guys can laugh at me. All right, I'm going to turn everything on. I hope this is right aluminum, so we'll see. Okay, I'm gonna take the camera and I'm gonna show you what I got. Holy smokes. Let's see, in my vast experience, if I can talk you through what was going on. So, getting it started and getting it melted, it seemed to be that obviously I wasn't putting enough heat in it. Then all of a sudden it occurred to me that I need to mash the pedal down some more. So I got it melted a little bit in here, and then my gloves wouldn't let me feed it, so basically, subconsciously, I was pulling the torch away back, which gave it a huge arc spread, which melted the surface of it. And then I'd shove some rod down in there, and it would melt again. And I could tell the torch was coming back. And finally, I okay, pushed the pedal down, and it started melting, and I started feeding. Let's see here. I just try to make sure it stays in focus here. So I pushed the pedal down, and it actually melted that oxide layer, and I got down to the base metal, and I started feeding some aluminum to it. But apparently, toward the end, I think toward the end I was figuring it out, but it would appear that in addition to, you know, not having this crap, that there is a rhythm relative to the foot pedal and feeding it. So it's almost like I need to push it down when I put the rod in there, so I get just a little more heat, and then when I melt my little drop, I let off the foot pedal and, you know, move it forward a little bit. I don't know. Like I said, you're getting advice from someone with seconds of experience. Let me put the camera back up there, and with all that I've learned, let's do this a few more times. Also, I kind of stuck it a few times. You saw that. Let me clean the tip up on this thing. I don't think I know enough about it to really worry about whether it's supposed to be a blunt nose tip or a pointy tip. It would appear that when I stick it, I make two tips. So something tells me that's not right. So my goal at this point is just have one pokey thing going. Well, I can tell you that things go bad fast when you stick the tip of that tungsten. So when I had the tip, the tip sharp, actually, again, starting out, I need to figure this out. But starting out was kind of tough, but then it started working. And then about right somewhere in there, I stuck the tip, and then I stuck it a few more times as we went out. Yeah. Again, it's a learning experience. Don't stick the tip. Because apparently the arc wants to go all wiggly. It doesn't, you don't get a nice arc down to the metal once you kind of mess up the tip. You know, I got about, what, a centimeter of good stuff, sort of? That sort of looks good. Let's try it again. I need to figure out this starting piece. Yeah, I'm sounding like a broken record, right? Let me clean up the tip and let's see if we can do another one and see if we can get this thing started a little more efficiently. Well, at least that one makes me a little happier. I was able to start it. It still kind of looks like a lava flow there. And then I had it cold here. I ended up getting the rod into it and made a big old dingleberry right there. But eventually we got some flow going. I don't think I'd call those dimes. More like, maybe an exuberant, wave coming up to the bank. All right. Well, let me practice a little bit more. I don't know if you guys are interested in watching me sit here and fiddle with this for, a few hours. Let me continue on down my little piece of aluminum here and see if I can figure this out and make it, at least make it predictable. So I'm gonna sit here and I'm gonna do a few more welds. Hopefully I stop sticking the thing because that's the only tungsten I got. So I'm gonna go ahead and clean this up and scooch it down. And we'll practice some more. Let me get back to you. I thought I'd bring you back for a second. I should have known this. I started welding some tabs, right? Some tabs off the side, just to see what it would be like to weld two pieces together. Let me get the camera down here. So, this is the first side, and I didn't get anything to stick. I was trying to weld it, to this big angle iron, and just couldn't seem to get any heat into it. And this one, I turned it over and kind of cleaned it all up and started again, and I started having the same trouble. Then I managed to touch that stinking thing. I'm like, holy smoke, that thing's warm. Then it occurred to me, so this piece of angle iron isn't it's not big, but it's a fairly sizable hunk of aluminum compared to the piece I'm welding on. And that's kind of how fins work, on motorcycles and lawnmowers and stuff like that. So this is just the mass of this is really small, and it's thin, so it acts like a fin. So what was happening is when I'd, strike an arc down here, the heat was actually going up this fin and wasn't going into this bulk material, so I wasn't really melting this bulk material. So let me see if I can get that up there. You can kind of see that that's actually fused together right there. And what I discovered was, and again it should make sense, or I should have known this, strike an arc on there, you hit it hard so that you can put a big burst of heat into this bottom piece, into this bulk material, melt it, and then you don't have to worry about the upper piece melting. But I ended up pulsing the pedal, if you will, getting that melt, and then let up just a touch, and then take it forward just a little bit and hit it, press it, put the pedal to the metal. And as I got close to the end, the heat was building up enough into this that it was trying to melt. That was before, right? That's not this one. But this end piece right here, the little fin was trying to melt before this bulk material was getting hot enough. So I stopped. But that's something to remember. Have to pay attention to the physics of what you're trying to weld together. You guys that have been TIG welding for years, I can see you sitting on the couch right now. You're laughing at me. That's okay. So the goal is to actually keep learning. So I'm going to keep playing with this. I think I'm about ready to see what that stinking cast aluminum does, because I am a little curious how it's going to react. You can see I kind of, well, I don't know what you want to call that, but I got two pieces of aluminum welded together. And let's see here. That's hard to see. I didn't get a lot of penetration on that. Got it hot, but it didn't get a lot of penetration. I got to keep in mind what the goal is right now. The goal is to keep an aluminum tube in the side of a transmission. It would appear to me that I still got some practicing to do. That was the last long beat I did right there, if you want to call that long. So I got a little bit of height on it, and it started getting away at the end. I seem to remember watching a video or something how to keep that divot from happening, but I'll have to go back and review that. At this point, that's not my focus. All right, let me keep playing with this thing. Definitely got to figure out how to control the heat better on this. Still got a tendency to pull off instead of letting off the pedal. However, that does give me hope. That does give me hope. Let me get that up here. There we go. That leads me to believe that the welding that tube in that housing isn't as complicated as it might seem. Probably because I'm just going right on the corners. And the corners are always susceptible to melting. Well, I think what we're going to do, I'm going to cut me a piece of tubing, and we're going to set it in that housing, that first one that we whacked this piece out of here. And let's see what it looks like. Sorry guys, I forgot to turn on the camera. I got it hot right there. I'm gonna have to watch my foot when we weld up this bottom down here. And it's really susceptible right on that transition right there. Right? Because once I get down here, it's not bad. Can you see that? Yeah. Oh, that was a mistake. Being careless. That kind of sucks. Just so you guys know, if you have it TIGged, you get that, you tip that tip in there, and that aluminum wants to wick up on that tungsten. Which kind of plays hell with the whole thing. Anyway, you know, we have moments of greatness. That little piece right there actually looks pretty good, which gives me hope that a little more practice with this thin stinking tubing, and I think we can put this in. Little more finesse on the foot pedal. Okay. Well, it's getting dark, and I think I'm gonna call it a day today. So I'll get back with you in the morning. Welcome back, folks. After some more YouTubing, and some introspection, I think it's highly possible that my comments yesterday may have been misplaced. We're going to do some more practicing and see if we can do a little better. All right, let me get things fired up. Well, that was obviously too much heat. Okay, well, it looks like I'm at the point I can TIG in my little aluminums. Let me show you what I got, and then maybe we'll talk about lessons learned if someone with my vast years of experience can give you lessons learned. All right. You can see I was finally able to get a bead all the way around it. I got a hole right there. Well, it's not a hole, it's got a divot, but I think that will all flatten out. So at this point, I think I can put my tubes in my housings without a lot of pain. It may not look pretty, but we got to flatten that out anyway. Now, am I a TIG welder? Oh, hell no. Let me show you. Let me show you all the makeup to this. So, I think I've managed to make every mistake I saw on YouTube. You know, the guy saying, no, don't do that. Well, I think I made them. So let me put the camera back up on the tripod, and I'll kind of talk about what maybe I learned. Number one, as in all welding, your number one focus is to watch the puddle. There was so many new things going on that it took me a while to kind of, I guess I knew that, but with the foot, you know, the foot doing the pedal and the hand watching the TIG torch and this hand trying to do the wire, it's kind of like, you know, pat your head and I guess patting, not see, I still can't do it. Patting your head and rubbing your stomach. So, you gotta watch the puddle. The other thing is, you know, touching the tungsten to your workpiece, that's bad. Touching your rod to the tungsten, oh, that is so much worse. You touch the rod to the tungsten, and man, it'll wick, especially on, you know, this is all I'm focused on is doing aluminum with TIG. But if you touch the rod, the aluminum rod to your tungsten, it's like it wicks all, I mean, it'll wick up that far. So touching the rod to the tungsten's bad. Not that touching the rod to the case is good, but it seems that the rod is cause you significantly more pain. The other one is, you know, I watched a lot of guys on YouTube and they're talking about, you know, hold the electrode, the tungsten, you know, about 1/16 of an inch off. That is a lot harder than it looks. When you're feeding metal in there and you're trying to watch this tungsten and keep it at the right distance, it is so easy for the puddle to kind of grow and touch the tungsten. Makes for a bad day. Anyway, let's see, what else? Managing the heat is, and I think Justin on the fabrication series said this, you know, just, you can turn the welder up, and if you got a foot feet, you can manage the heat. That is a point of learning. Being able to manage the heat with the foot feet, I think may be the critical learning to TIG welding. I don't know, it reminds me, I've got a upholstery sewing machine that I try to put seats together, and it's one of the older ones. And if you guys are interested with, you know, if you're interested in those upholstery sewing machines, they have a dry clutch system on them. So the motor runs at like 3,600 RPMs. The clutch is running at 3,600 RPMs the whole time. So if you want to feather the needle, you actually have to slip the clutch. Nowadays, most people put a DC servo motor on these, but mine still got the clutch on it. And getting used to that pedal so you can feather that stinking machine feels a whole lot like when I was trying to feather this TIG. You know, you're working really hard to try to manage the puddle and, you know, manage your speed, keeping it hot, you know, keep it hot enough so that you still got the puddle but not too hot so that it goes whew. It really is a delicate maneuver. So, I think my tungsten it's bled up so far. I can still use it, but it's getting short. I need to get some new tungstens. So I'm gonna order some new tungstens. I'm gonna continue to practice, but I think we can do this now. Could I? Am I prepared at this point to weld anything that's structural? Yeah, not really. We need a lot more practice. But this makes me feel good that at least we can get our transmission done, and we can move on down the road, and I can continue to practice welding aluminum. I think I'll set this on the shelf just to make sure that I stay humble. Down the road, if I get, halfway decent with this, I can look at this and say, yeah, you're not there yet. All right, well, we're gonna wrap this up. I hope you found something useful in this video. If you're still here, I appreciate it. If you haven't subscribed, please subscribe. Share it with your friends, make a comment. I try to answer all the comments. And until next time, it's not even spring and I gotta go clean up the yard. We gotta start mowing.